video. I'll try and make it snappy here. You had mentioned wanting to know how to, I don't know, we talked about the backgrounds in Canva. So I wanted to share about, or goodness, I wanted to share how I do this. It can get tricky sometimes doing a background specifically for Squarespace because it dimensions matter based on the space that the background is going to fill, because if you need to stretch it or shrink it, that'll change some things. So sometimes it's best to know the dimensions prior to bringing into Squarespace. However, this is just like a good place to start and play around. And then also for your newsletters, I think this will be fun and helpful for you. So I went ahead and just did like a quick search before I started the video, so I didn't waste time here, and I thought this one was pretty cool. If these patterns, to my knowledge, if they're done correctly, which I believe, to be part of Canva, they probably are, what would happen is the left side pattern should match up with the right side pattern when you copy and paste a new one. So I just copied and pasted, and then I line it up, and I always zoom in to the place where the two edges meet, because if you are just slightly off, like this little fraction of an inch there, it will reflect in, especially as you duplicate the pattern more and more, it will reflect in the final product. So always want to zoom in and check the edges. Something else that can happen is if you are zoomed out, you'll think that they're touching, but there actually might be just well, you can see there, but sometimes you can't see that white line. So it's really important, again, to zoom in and make sure that there's no gap there, because those gaps, again, they will add up and they will affect the final product. So let's see here. That is one example. Now this one already has a colored background, so this is actually going to be interesting. This may not have been the most perfect example for producing a PNG. I'll actually be curious to see what this does. So what I'm going to do now that I have done these two copies, I'm going to stretch these out to fit the edge just to save time. And then I'm going to duplicate those two because I know that they match. Actually, I should just zoom in. They may not match since I stretched it a little bit. Yep, see, there's a teeny tiny gap there. So I had to move that over literally just the slightest amount to make that line up. You can see, I don't know if you can see it on the screen recording, but there is the smallest fraction of a line there. Okay, I'm not maybe gonna do this perfect on video again to save time, but it looks pretty good at first glance. And then what I want to do, I'm going to add this page. I thought this one was also pretty cool. And I'm just going to do, this is a white background, so I know this is going to produce a PNG, which will reflect the color of whatever background you choose to put it on later down the road. And okay, again, for time's sake, this may not be the most perfect thing. And sometimes it's kind of hard to see where you are at in the project. Okay. Those lines look good. And that line is off. There we go. That one's off still a little bit. This one's being a little funny. Okay, again, time's sake, I'm gonna skip down, fix this one. Scroll over. Okay, we look good enough for this sample here. What I'm gonna do now is export, download PNG. Specifically with PNG, you always want to do a transparent background when you are doing this sort of a thing. Let's see here. And I think I'll just share this specific file with you, Max's background samples, so that if you find backgrounds you'd like me to play around with, I think this will be the best way to share those with me. Okay, so you can see here it's no longer a white background, it's gray. Well, it's actually clear, but this one probably is not going to do that so much because it was already a colored background. Okay, so probably good that I did like a good what to do and what not to do sort of sample. All right, we're gonna do the one that I don't think is gonna work best right now first. And actually there's a couple different ways of doing this. There's this way that I just did here, which is probably gonna put it behind the green bar, I'm thinking. Oh, no, it actually did. Okay, perfect, I see what it did. Yep, so the green bar went away. All right, let's see what happens here. This one is going to be on top of the green. So I'm thinking where the clear gaps are actually going to be green, if I'm doing everything correctly. And the same should reflect for when you do your newsletters. My computer's breathing heavy. Probably a little far from the internet base. Sorry this is taking so long. All right, that's pretty rad. That's super cool, I think. So then when we go here to colors and we change the background color, so this is a white background, so it's gonna, well, there's different settings, but long story short, you see what's going on. So the background of the PNG pattern is essentially reflecting our different color choices. This is a fun pattern. I don't know if this is Max's website appropriate, but it's at least kind of fun to play around with. So I'd be curious to get your thoughts on all of this. All right, I think that's probably it. I'll cut this video off now. Thanks, Jenny.